The manufacturing sector is the weakest it's been in 3 years. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, I'm Florian Heise and welcome to another episode of Heise Says. I've got my morning stein of coffee and I thought we'd start the week by having a look at this data released from AI Group with their PMI with regards to the Australian manufacturing sector. Now, before we jump to that, let's go over here to trending economics, or trading economics, should be trending, and see the PMI over the period. Now, the PMI is an index, a measure. If you're above 50, your industry is generally expanding. If you're below 50, it's contracting. And we can see here we've hit at 48.1 in November 2019 from 51.6. So that's a significant decline. We can see here the data, but let's have a look. We'll scroll down here. So where are we sitting at? The AIG Manufacturing PMI Index measures the performance of the manufacturing sector and is derived from a survey of 200 industrial companies. It is a composite index based on the diffusion indices for production, new orders, deliveries, inventory, and employment with varying weights. A reading above 50 indicates an expansion of the manufacturing sector compared to the previous month. Below 50 represents a contraction, while 50 indicates no change. This page provides the latest value. So we can see the highest was 62.5. This is from 92 to 2019. It's done every month. The lowest was at 29.47. So let's jump here and we'll have a look. Let's go to 10-year. And we can see every time the industry, manufacturing, is below 50, it's gotten worse. So have a look at that. From 2010, shot up and then it declined for a while. Still declining, slightly better, but declining, slightly better, declining. So we can't really be all too surprised about the, well, here you go, here's 25. Where do we have? 2005, 2008. There you go. That's atrocious. It's pretty bad. So you can see just how the Australian manufacturing sector has been going. A lot more declines than above. Does it have an average here? No, it doesn't. Oh, the average was 50.79 from 92 to 2019. So slightly above the previous month, but that is tiny. That's wow. You have to remember, since it's a month-on-month change, you get some really drastic falls. It's tough. So let's have a look at this article or this research data. So, Australian PMI, weakest manufacturing conditions in 3 years. The Australian Industry Group, Australian Performance of Manufacturing Index, Australian PMI, fell by 3.5 points to 48.1 in November, its lowest reading since August 2016. Strengthening calls for federal government to consider greater stimulus options. But see, the issue here is all the stimulus that the government is proposing, or infrastructure proposing, the majority of it is road work. Really? Road work. Repaving roads, extending roads. Will that, what's the flow-through rate to the rest of the manufacturing sector? An increasing pace of contraction in new orders suggested a weak Christmas period may be ahead for Australian manufacturers. Readings below 50 indicate contraction in activity, with the distance from 50 indicating the strength of the contraction. Really just the number of people that are feeling that orders are worse. The weaker manufacturing sector in November was driven by contraction in employment and new orders, and sales and production was barely steady. The overall weakness was not evident in the large food and beverage sector, which reported a further strengthening of performance. Both the machinery and equipment and the chemicals sector also continued to expand in November, with weakness concentrated in the metal products, building products, TCF, and printing groups. Well, what does that tell you? Food and beverage, okay, that's good. Chemicals and chemical sector was expanding, but metal production, building products, TCF. So all the construction sectors. And printing. So The AI Group chief executive, Ines Willox, said a decline in performance across the diverse manufacturing sector has been telegraphed by the weakness in new orders in recent months. The further fall in new orders in November is far from encouraging and further evidence that the stimulus from interest rate reductions and the income tax has not so far flowed through to consumer and business spending. The federal government will need to look very closely at additional stimulus options over the coming months, he said. Well, of course not. People are paying down debt. Debts are so high that people are paying them down. That's the issue. That's why all this stimulus, rate cuts and monetary policy, tax deductions, it's not having any effect because people are simply paying down debt because we're slugged with so much. So key findings. In falling by 3.5 points to 4.81 in November, the Australian PMI slipped below the 50-point threshold, separating expansion from contraction for only the third month since July 2015. Let's have a look. Yes, he's right there. You can see. There we go. So it was doing well. That's when it went down. And since then it was up, and now, well, what is the trend going to be, guys? What is the trend? I mean, I'll just bring up a chart here. This was the ANZ job ads. Fell 1% in October. Look at where it's trending, guys. It's also trending down. Kind of lines up with what we're seeing here now. The recent weakness in new orders continued in November, down 1.1 points to 47.2, and has now started to flow through to other activities, with employment down 5.5 points to 47.3, and supply deliveries down 7 points to 45.3 and contracting. Production down 5.8 points to 49.7, sales down 2.9 points to 49.2, and exports down 2 points to 49.8. All weekend to a position of stability, with finished stocks the only index to remain in expansion, up 4.2 points to 52.6. 3 of the 6 manufacturing sectors in the Australian PMI expanded in November, according to the trend. Led once again by food and beverage, up 0.4 points to 60.8. Would that have to do with Christmas? Machinery and equipment down 0.3 points to 53.1. Although still contracting, the metals production sector rate of contraction continued to slow, up 1.7 points to 46.8. That's still a significant difference from 50, isn't it? With businesses servicing mining and defense projects reporting solid market conditions. Well, that's not surprising. Drought remains a top concern for many manufacturers, particularly those located in rural areas or those selling metal products and machinery equipment to the agricultural sector. The input price index made a welcome drop from November's 2019 high, down 10.7 points to 64.0, while selling prices jumped back into positive territory, up 6.2 points to 51.2. The average wages index fell a further 2.5 points, down to 56.8 in November, indicating wages rose at a slower rate than in October. So let's have a look at all of the economic indicators. So here's the PMI. This month, 48.1. That's contracting. New orders contracting. Supply deliveries contracting. Finished stock slightly up, 52, or expanding. Exports slightly contracting. It's gone down a lot. Sales down. Input prices significantly down. Why is it down? Change from 10, 68, shouldn't it be 74? What's going on there? That's percentage. So, well, no, 10% sure. Anyway, don't ask these questions, Florian. Selling prices is slightly up. Okay, these are percentages. Average wages are slightly down, still expanding. Capacity utilization is down, still expanding. Food and beverage was up. Machinery and equipment up. Metal down. Petroleum, rubber up. Building, wood, furniture and other down. Textiles, wow. Well, yeah. That's terrible. Results above 50 indicate expansion. So guys, this is an overview of the manufacturing sector. How do you think this will flow through into the retail figures for Christmas or to the employment rate? It'll be interesting to see how the RBA responds to this type of information and what will happen in next year. Let me know what you think in the comments, guys. Are you working in some of these industries? What's your anecdotal experience? How are you seeing what's happening? How are new orders? How are sales? You know, we've had delivery drivers have been mentioning in other videos that, you know, their delivery numbers have significantly dropped. I remember a concrete guy was saying in another video, yeah, he used to have several a day, now maybe 1 or 2. So guys, let us know what your experience is and if it lines up with what we're seeing here and what you think this will mean for the new year. Anyway guys, thank you for watching. Like, share and subscribe. If you enjoy the channel and want to help me produce more content, I have a Patreon where you can make a small monthly donation. Really appreciate it. We also have Amazon and eBay affiliate links where we receive a commission when you make a purchase. Thank you to everyone that took advantage of, I think, Black Friday and made a whole lot of purchases. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. We also have our own custom merch, handmade, pocket squares at Heise Says, and we've got PayPal and Ethereum if you want to make a donation that way. Take care guys, have a great day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye for now.